Let's continue the conversation now with Berkeley Law Professor John Yoo. John also served as the Deputy Assistant Attorney General at the Department of Justice during the George W. Bush administration. And from Newsmax, Washington, we welcome in national defense expert Clare Lopez. She's now the Vice President for Research and Analysis at the Center for Security Policy. First to you, Clare. The New York Daily News and Washington Post report that French police killed the Paris attacks mastermind and in so doing uncovered several plots against malls and airports. If this is true, what does it mean for France and its anti-terror efforts?
It means that both France and other countries in Western Europe are facing a very tough time ahead with the immigration or the inflow of hundreds of thousands of migrants, young men, Muslim men of fighting age over the past months. Europe is overrun with potential jihadis, and indeed the Islamic State has threatened that it would seed that flow with jihadis.
I'm going to get to John in a second, but Claire, I have to follow up. There is another report coming in late this afternoon from Honduras. Officials there said they detained 5 Syrians traveling on stolen Greek passports. They were trying to get to this country. Does it underscore the real problem we have with immigration?
Certainly, not just immigration, but refugee resettlement. There is a crying need for overhaul in both programs, but for the moment what we need to do is hit the pause button on all immigration and refugee resettlement from these areas of conflict.
John, you're out there at Berkeley, close to Silicon Valley, and pressure is increasing on Apple, Google, and other high-tech companies to allow law enforcement and intelligence agencies access to encrypted phones and other devices. How do we draw the right balance between security, privacy, and really even business trade secrets?
Well, JD, I think what the Paris attack shows is that we may have gone too far last summer with the passage of what was called the Freedom Act, which made it much more difficult for our intelligence and security professionals to get access to the kind of metadata they need to track terrorists. Look what happened in Paris. Look what happened in Mumbai. A small number of people coordinating their attacks in a city can wreak terrible damage and destruction when they're let loose amongst civilians. One way to help stop them is to get access to their communications as fast as possible in real time to try to stop them before they move on to their next targets and try to roll up the conspiracy. What happened last summer is that before, the NSA used to have access to a huge database of metadata to try to draw links between potential terrorists. After that act passed, now we have a system where the government has to go to phone companies, and it's the phone companies that keep the data, and they have to get a judicial warrant. Plus, at the same time, as you mentioned, JD, in Silicon Valley, a lot of tech companies are trying to provide high-quality, difficult-to-break encryption systems for communications, which intelligence professionals suspect was how the terrorists in Paris coordinated their actions. If our government doesn't have access to those communications, it's like fighting with one hand tied behind our back and trying to stop such an attack as in Paris or Mumbai from coming to the United States.
John Yoo at Berkeley Law at the University of California, and Clare Lopez from Newsmax, Washington. You both have our thanks. Coming up, the White House pushing back after over half our states say no to Syrian refugees. We'll have a discussion on that topic next.